Best time of the year in the NBA. Playoff basketball has started. Tonight, you had the Hawks versus the Heat and the Lakers versus the Timberwolves. Let's go. The NBA kicked off the postseason with two games: the Atlanta Hawks, Team 500, versus the Miami Heat, Team Culture. And Atlanta put it on Miami 116-105. They jumped on Miami, had control of the game throughout. Miami made runs in spurts, but in the end, it was the dominance of the Hawks on the board. 63-39, they dominated Miami on the boards. They destroyed them on second chance points. They were led by Trae Young as well as DeJounte Murray. Young with 25, Murray with 8. They got 17 for Saddiq Bey. The Atlanta Hawks had 7 players in double digits, balanced scoring versus what Miami did. Jimmy Butler had 21 points, but only 6 from 19 from the field. He had 9 assists, but he really didn't have an impact on the game. Bam Adebayo, you got 12 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. You got to get more from Bam when he's matching up against Clint Capella. I thought Tyler Hero was okay offensively, but was very poor defensively. Couldn't stay with anybody. Was really getting chopped up on the perimeter. The best player in the Heat, the guy that showed up the most, that stood out, you can make a case he might have been the best player in the game, was the vet, Kyle Lowry. 11 for 16 from the field, 6 for 9 from 3, 33 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 0 turnovers, and it wasn't enough. Miami is going to have to go play on Friday night, and Miami is probably going to end up playing versus the winner of Chicago and Toronto. And then when you look at what happened with, when you look at what happened tonight with the Laker game, the T-Wolves, who put on a great effort, had total control of the game, and blew a double-digit lead that they had held throughout the game. The Lakers made a crazy run, and late in the game, LeBron kicks it to Dennis Schroeder. Schroeder makes a big three that ties the game. And at one point, the Lakers actually had control. They're up 3. AD makes a silly foul on the vet Mike Conley. Mike Conley, to his credit, steps to the line with 0.1 second left, less than a second left, and hit all 3 free throws. I thought Mike Conley played a terrific game. 23 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, 1 block. Just impacted the game throughout. He reminded me why he's been one of the most underrated players throughout his career. In his prime, one of the better on-ball defenders, consistent shooter, playmaker. He's kind of a throwback in the kind of point guard that he is. But when you watch him play, Mike Conley doesn't look his age. Mike Conley still have that quickness, still can hit the floater, still can play defense at a high level, still can make shots. Looking forward, whether they want him to return or not, Mike Conley still has value in this league, can still make a difference. The most disappointing part about this game was not that Minnesota blew the lead. That can happen. But it was the way they blew the lead. Anthony Edwards, who is their best player, he goes 3 for 17. You're going to have bad shooting nights. This is a learning moment for Anthony Edwards. When you're having a bad shooting night, you have to stop settling for jump shots. You have to attack the basket. You're 6'8", 240 plus, athletic, quick, powerful, with a handle. Anthony Edwards should have shot at least 10 to 12 free throws. Put your head down, attack the basket. And that didn't happen. He settled for jump shot after jump shot. And he was being single covered, and he settled for jump shot after jump shot. And as great a first half as Karl Anthony Towns played, and I said this during the first half, Towns is having one of those kind of games that teases fans into thinking he could be that guy. He could be a franchise player. And then if you saw how he played, the mistakes that he made in the second half and how willing he was to just shoot jump shots versus being aggressive versus showing some physicality, it's why he's not that guy. A top 10 talent, not a top 10 player, not a franchise player. Karl-Anthony Towns on a championship team is your second option. And therein lies the problem with the Timberwolves. You invested 4 first-round picks and players for a complementary piece in Rudy Gobert, thinking that putting him and Towns together would recreate some form of the Twin Towers. And it just didn't work. It wasn't going to work. Anybody who knew basketball knew that wasn't going to work. And the funny thing is, without Gobert on the floor, the guy that they gave up so much for, that Danny Ainge fleeced their front office, they were a better team for most of the game. They played faster. They were more aggressive defensively. The ball moved. They were at their best tonight, minus Rudy Gobert. And they still couldn't pull it through because their 2 best players showed their weaknesses. Anthony Edwards is still in the process of learning what he can and can't do and how to pick his spots. Karl-Anthony Towns has been doing this for years. This is who he is. He's a talent. He is not a leader. He's a talent. He is not a superstar. He's a complimentary star. Hats off to the Timberwolves for a great effort. They came out and they pushed and they tested the Lakers. To the Lakers' credit, they hung in there. LeBron James, 30 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. Anthony Davis, 24 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks. I thought AD played a steady game, especially in the second half. Aside from the silly foul, he played well. Austin Reeves was a lot more aggressive in the second half. Dennis Schroeder was so big for them in the second half, as was Rui Hachimura. I thought the Lakers got some production from their bench that they didn't see coming, and I thought that was a big difference in the game. They survived D'Angelo Russell going 1 for 9. And I know he had 8 assists, but anybody that saw the game, he couldn't stay on the floor, not just because he couldn't shoot. He couldn't stay on the floor because he could not guard anybody. The Lakers pull it out, and at some point in time, yes, the game was a little ugly, but it was so intense, you kind of didn't even realize that the teams combined for 40 turnovers. Again, going forward, the T-Wolves aren't done yet. They have an opportunity. They have an opportunity to play the winner of Oklahoma City. Who does Oklahoma City play again? Yeah, the winner of Oklahoma City versus the Pelicans. So they still have a chance to get into the playoffs. It's not over for them yet. I'll say this. If they put forth the same effort as they did tonight, but just finish the game, they have a real shot. I'll be rooting for Oklahoma City because I like what Shea, what Getty, and all those guys are doing out there. So I'd like to see them get in there. But I think the Timberwolves, no matter who wins, whoever they match up with, that's going to be a dogfight. Coming back on the break, I'm going to give you my All-NBA first team, and I'm going to give you my All-NBA first team, All-NBA defense. Welcome back, fam. Let me get right into it. This is my All-NBA first team. And with no hesitation, the guy that I think's going to win the MVP starts us off. Joel Embiid, 33 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 55% from the field, 33 from 3, 85% from the line. Another thing that's great about Embiid, on a bad shooting night, he can still end up dropping 30 because he gets to the line 12 times a game. Joel Embiid is definitely worthy and deserving of being first team All-NBA defense. The next guy on my squad, no secret here, the guy who I would have voted for MVP. Not saying Embiid wasn't worthy, he certainly was. But Giannis Antetokounmpo, 31 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, 55% from the floor, 27% from 3. Giannis dominates the NBA, and he's still not proficient at the shot that's expanded the game, the shot that's made guys like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Dame Dollar, and others be able to dominate from 40 feet in. And I still think he doesn't ever have to master the three. Sorry about that. He doesn't have to. What Giannis needs to do to add to his game, especially as he gets older, yes, develop a go-to post move, but also get a consistent mid-range jump shot. He didn't have to shoot the three. If he can get something he can rely on from 12 to 15 feet in, it's over. If he did that now, it's over. He's dominating. But if he can master mid-range to go with what he can do off the bounce, it's a wrap. Not to mention, he's still an all NBA player. He is the most well-rounded big to me when you talk about both ends of the floor and what he can do without being nearly as, I would say the word is polished, as an Embiid, as a Jokic, as an AD. With Giannis, sometimes it's just about his will. He's got that want to. People talk about motor a lot in the NFL, that motor. Giannis has got that thing. He's got that motor. He is relentless and deserving of being first team All NBA. The next guy up on my squad, first team All NBA, the Spider, Donovan Mitchell. Led the Cavs to the 4th seed, 28 points a game, 4 rebounds, over 4 assists, but he's having his most efficient shooting season of his career. 48% from the field, 38 from 3, another 86% from the free throw line. Donovan Mitchell, to me, I know some think he's already a superstar. I would say he's an all-star who's had superstar-like moments, but I think he's trying to make that leap, that next step in his progression. And one of those steps is earning a spot first team All NBA. Next up, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 31 points, 5 rebounds, over 5 assists, 51% from the floor, a pedestrian 34%. Shai does not shoot the three. That's not where his game is. He destroys you from the mid-range in, 90% from the free throw line, and his secret power, much like Luka's, James Harden in his prime, DeMar DeRozan in his prime, his secret power is the man gets to the foul line 12 times a game. And it changes not only what you do with him defensively, but how you play his teammates because he gets you in the penalty. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, to me, is deserving of being first team All NBA. The last member of the first team All NBA, Jason Tatum. Second seed Boston in the East, 30 points, 9 rebounds, just under 5 assists, 47% from the field, 35 from 3, 85% from the free throw line. Tatum is actually an underrated defender. Some acknowledge his gift, but Tatum can get up in you and can play multiple positions. But what he's really done and made a concerted effort to add to his game is not settle for just jumpers, but attack the basket. A career high 9 free throws a game. It shows you progression. It shows you he's maturing. It shows you he's a student of the game. That's my first team All NBA. Hey fam, just a reminder before we get out of here, there are 2 more play-in games tomorrow night. You've got the Bulls versus the Raptors, and you've got the Thunder versus the Pelicans. All right, so here's my first team All NBA defense. I think the first 4 were easy. Brook Lopez is the anchor of the Bucks defense. Giannis is the most versatile. He's the better all-around defender, but the guy that protects the rim, the guy that ends possessions with rebounds along with Giannis is Brook Lopez. Jaren Jackson Jr. is an easy one for the Grizz. I actually think Jaren Jackson Jr. has a legit shot to be Defensive Player of the Year. If I had a vote, he is Defensive Player of the Year. Versatile big who can play in space, has the foot speed to play and guard smaller, quicker players, but also the length to meet you at the summit, to block shots, to end possessions with rebounding. And obviously, I don't have to tell you he's a threat on the other end of the floor. Jaren Jackson Jr., first team All NBA defense. Evan Mobley is rising fast. He's making leaps and strides as an all around player. But he came into the NBA a terrific defender. And now he's first team All NBA, and he's worthy of it. He's one of the reasons why the Cavs have a top 4 defense. Yes, I know some people will say pace. I'm going to tell you they're deserving of that ranking because of what Mobley and Allen do. And to his credit, Donovan Mitchell and Garland, not great one-on-one defenders, but the Cavs have a terrific team defense concept, and it works. Evan Mobley, first team All NBA defense. This one for me, one of my favorite players in the NBA, Jrue Holiday. Jrue Holiday, still one of the best 3 on-ball defenders in the NBA, can guard multiple positions, and he has the ability, especially in big games, to get that big deflection, that big steal, draw that big charge. Jrue Holiday, one of the best players on both sides of the floor, really. Don't sleep on his bag offensively, but we're talking about the greatness of Jrue Holiday on the defensive end of the ball. The last member of my first team was a little bit hard because I was going back and forth between 3 guys, Jaden McDaniel, Derek White, and Alex Caruso. Alex Caruso should have got some more love last season. Having said that, though, I gave him the edge, and he's on my first team, not just because he's a great on-ball defender, because he plays passing lane well, because he's physical, and he can actually derail guys that's trying to cut to the basket. He can reroute them. He's very good at that, but also deflections, something that Robert Covington kind of excels at. Alex Caruso's ability to not just get steals, but the deflections, to be a pest. He's averaging a league high 5.2 deflections. That means that Alex Caruso is active, quick in the lanes, just a pest, a deterrent. I think Alex Caruso should get that final spot. My top 5, first team All NBA defense, Lopez, Jackson, Mobley, Holiday, and Alex Caruso. Been a very fun first episode back. And I know my wife always tells me, yo, how come you don't edit? I don't edit like that because I think that our imperfections, that's kind of what makes people kind of like want to listen to us, because they think we're not trying that hard. We're just being ourselves. So if I chop up a name, if I mispronounce something like that, I'm good with that. I'll apologize for it, but I'm not gonna edit that. I'm gonna keep it moving. Real people, you know what real people do? They make real mistakes and then they keep it moving. So, first episode back from a long break. In the future, you can catch me on the Sports Empire Network and in the mornings on the Coffee and Sports Morning Show with Coach Dez and the man himself, Freddie Henderson. I think tomorrow we'll be talking about tonight's games. The games are going to happen tomorrow night. We'll also probably get into some of the NBA awards that we didn't get into, like second and third team All NBA, most improved, and things of that nature, Coach of the Year. So until Friday, fam, it's the NBA Cypher. Next time.